beast stalker, giant stalker, dragon stalker, crypt stalker, demon stalker, rift stalker, grown stalker, crypt stalker, scourge stalker, wind runner. I'm a pony, lead skill hunter, a death dealer, a life stealer. That's just the cost of being awesome.
Welcome to episode 255 of the Hunting Party Podcast. I'm Bendak from Eyes of the Beast, Blizzard Watch, and Bendak WoW on Twitter.
And I'm Delirium from Thrill of the Wild and at Delirium Hunts on Twitter. Today is Sunday, February 26, 2017. We're broadcasting live on twitch.tv. You can participate in the live chat room where our lovely moderator, Ollie Sonder, is there to take your questions. We are obviously from the intro missing a couple of co-hosts this week, but we do have legendary hunter soloist Shoot joining here with us this week.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. It was a pretty big week or 2 weeks ago, whenever that was for you, yeah?
Yeah, lots of stuff getting down in Mythic Archimonde, obviously, so it's pretty fun.
It looked like you kind of hit a wall where you're a little overgeared for some of the bosses, and a few of them were pretty steady progression. I think you said 96 pulls on Mythic Archimonde.
92, yeah.
92.
So not too bad. I thought I was gonna go over 100, and I had like one Sunday where I spent I think 5 hours on it, but then the next week I got a little more gear and things were a little bit easier. So
Sounds good. We've got a couple of bits of news to discuss before we get to soloing craziness. A couple of hotfixes that were recently implemented. I don't know how many people had noticed these bugs. Bestial Ferocity had not been working correctly the entire expansion. It can now critically strike. The same is true of On the Trail, which can now critically strike. And they caught the piercing shot no longer does less damage because of the focus cost reduction effect of the 4-set for marksmanship hunters. Which is, that's nice of them, I guess, to add that in there a little late to the game, but not too bad. There were a bunch of PvP changes for hunters, especially for marksmanship and beast mastery. I don't have the slightest clue what any of these things mean for actual gameplay, so I did check in with Darkbrew and kind of got his thoughts on how these affected. It sounds like it did make marksmanship a little bit more viable. He said he's seen a few kind of top hunters trying out marksmanship, still not a lot of beast mastery at the higher ranks, but they both got a little bit more armor and some shifting in their base stats that come on their template, the PvP template. And we also had a lot of changes on the PTR come up. I don't know, Bendak, you want to talk about some of that?
Sure. I guess the first thing is in the most recent build, they unlocked you can tame the new Feathermane pets, which are like griffins and stuff like that. You can also tame Falcosaurs now, which just are in the raptor family. And there was also a tweet from Muffinus, and he sort of hinted that we might get more stable slots, but he didn't explicitly say that. He just kind of hinted at it. And I don't know if that's coming for this next patch or what, but
he was being pretty cryptic. Yeah, he mentioned a few pets we hadn't figured out yet too, right?
Yeah.
And one of them mentioned we hadn't found them all.
Yeah, for the Feathermanes, they've added some new rare pets to cover the new some of the unused skins that weren't in the game yet, like black and white griffins. And I think they sort of hinted at that there's going to be a fell griffin somewhere. So they just haven't been found yet on the PTR.
Whoa, black and white griffin. I haven't even seen that yet. Do we have a picture anywhere? Is that on Petopia?
Yeah, if you go to Petopia, they have all the potential skins up there. And I tamed some of them. They're like the griffins. They fly all the time. So I know some people don't like those big flappy pets because they take up so much space. But they look pretty cool. And
oh, they fly all the time? There's no landing or running animations?
Right.
Huh.
Yeah. And the old hippogriffs do the same, but the new hippogriffs in Broken Isles, they walk on the ground. And there's also elk.
Do they do both?
What?
The new
the
hippogriffs?
No, the new hippogriffs they just stay on the ground. Yeah.
Too bad.
And there's owl cats and wyvern and wolf hawks, which I haven't seen yet, but they're the same thing as our class mount.
Huh. Do we know if will those exist in the new patch?
I think they might, because it says right on the item to tame them that unless you tame wolf hawks, so they have to be somewhere. I'm guessing in the Broken Shore.
So these are all different tomes, or is there one tome for all of them?
No, it's just one tome, and in order to get it, you have to unlock flying in Broken Isles, then you have to complete the quest to get your mount, and then you have to unlock all the new traits in Titan Strike, and then you have to pay 10,000 order resources, and then you get the tome. So you're not going to be getting it right away. It's going to be at least a month or so.
Yeah, and you were saying before the show that SV and MM can use these pets, but you have to get it as BM? Or
Right.
What was the specification there?
Yeah, you have to unlock the first infinite trait on Titan Strike, and then you unlock it. But they're not exotic, so... And also the tome is BOA, so you can mail it to other hunters.
Oh, and you can buy multiples for the 10,000 order haul?
Yep.
Huh. Well, that sounds good. You said slow fall, right?
Yeah, they got the same ability that Relics have.
I guess that kind of fits a little bit with the look.
Yeah.
I don't know. We need to find a biologist to give us more notes on what we're considering these animals. There's also some changes on the PTR. We got actually from the Q&A, and we got a lot of clarification from Lore on the forums about what's going on with legendary drops. I don't know how you felt about it, Bendak or Shoot. I'm not too excited. They made some concessions so it's a little bit spec specific. If you do get legendaries that only count for a spec, they don't affect your bad luck protection for the other specs you're playing. But if you do get generic ones, then they count for all 3 specs. So you if you get the worst legendaries, it resets your bad luck protection, which isn't the most exciting for me, as I've only gotten really bad legendaries so far.
Yeah, the whole thing seems a bit convoluted. Like, it's hard to keep track of the rules, but if you've gotten things like Cephas and Prideaz, there's nothing really changing for you.
Right. Or did I just see Foxy log in?
Hey guys.
Hey, welcome. How was your Finnish breakfast?
Well, I don't smoke, but I think the other part was great.
Sounds good.
So we got Shoot on today.
Hey.
Hi, Shoot. My guild was
my-
just talking about you yesterday.
Well, so to bring Shoots into this conversation here, what were you using any legendaries on your Mythic Archimonde kill?
Yeah, so I was using Prideaz and Roots of Shaldrassel because I get the shield and then also a ton of self-healing, so it's obviously not as much damage as DPS legendaries, but it's still probably the best combination for soloing. I don't have the helm, but I would say that those two are the best combination. You just won't do as much damage, but you don't need damage in that fight really, so.
That's how long was this? I didn't see how long the video went for, but
I can look at my log and pull it up. It was like a little over 11 minutes, I think. Let's see.
I actually forgotten how long on progression Mythic Archimonde took.
Yeah.
It wasn't too different from that.
The video was 10 minutes or 11 minutes something, but
Yeah, 11:16 it says on the log for the kill.
jeez.
Have you tried out any of the other healing ones, the Feign Death one, legendary, or
I don't have the Feign Death one, but I did just get the Mantle of Command, which is
Nice.
really, really good. Like, that's the best DPS one, so that's
that's
kind
the
of exciting.
shoulders?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just used that to kill Mythic Iron Maidens, that and Roots of Shaldrassel, so, and that was pretty much probably impossible without that before, so.
Is
Yeah.
Roots, the pants, those are a little higher health than you get from the bubbles from the
Yeah.
neck?
Yeah, I mean, it's like
Oh,
basically
interesting.
a really gross spirit bond because you get 3% every second that you stand still. So that's a lot of healing. Like, yeah.
Is there a timer on how long you have to stand still before it starts, or anytime you stop moving, it goes?
It used to be 2 seconds, but now it's 1 second. So, I mean, you get a ton back on it. Like, I'm going to look at my kill rate here for healing and see how much I had on Maidens. 5.21 million. Exhilaration is 5.66. So almost matching exhilaration in terms of healing back.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a lot.
Well, what did you do? Iron Maiden's was the one with the boat, right?
Yeah.
So what did you do that Archimonde's probably more interesting, but now I'm curious. Did you have to go over, or could you just
No, because
stay
it resets if you go over, so you have to
if
zerg.
everybody goes? Okay.
Yeah, so if you're by yourself, you have to just zerg 1 to 25% to push them into like their ultimate phase where they each keep stacking like a 10% damage buff. And then I killed Marok and then Sorka and then the Duran last and just feigned every penetrating shot, because the penetrating shot, when she has like 20-25 stacks, because the fight does last that long, it'll like 1 or 2 shot you. So yeah.
Right, and that was what we did during progression too, just Feign Death on the.
Yeah.
So kind of works. We don't get to do that much these days, but it's a nice part of WoD.
So let's bring it back for a second here. We sort of just hopped in and said hi to Shoot here. You want to do a little? I know. Do we want to do a quick intro for Shoot here? Like his stats so far this expansion, and a little more about him. I just
Sure.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. So Shoot. What's your claim to fame here?
Who are you?
Who are you?
I do a lot of hunter soloing, and I've been doing it for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years now. And most recent claim to fame was killing Mythic Archimonde, and I'm not aware of anybody that's done it just because of the limitations that a lot of the mechanics cause, but I'm pretty sure I'm the first, but who knows. So I do a lot of soloing basically, and I have a website, huntersoloing.com. It's a little bit out of date, but hopefully I'll update it soon. I just work a lot, and I work about 60 hours a week, so I don't have as much time to contribute towards a lot of content writing anymore. So yeah.
So Shoot was also when a lot the reintroduction of Warcraft Hunters Union and a lot of the all hunter raiding, hardcore hunter raiding was going on in was it the end of MOP or was it during WoD? I don't remember, but Shoot was our tank, the main hunter tank for and handled a lot of the mechanics there. So I don't know, he's been around. Any of you who have been to BlizzCon might recognize him from the Hilton Bar.
The Hilton Bar, yeah.
That's about it.
Oh, I don't think I got to meet you this past year.
Yeah, I didn't come this last year just because.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, probably next year, but.
All right.
I think you Shoot were the first one who gave me the idea of going to BlizzCon and not buying a ticket, just hanging out at all the stuff around BlizzCon. So.
Yeah, like Con Before the Storm and others. So let's talk about Shoot's track record so far these last couple of months. Besides the breaking news of Iron Maiden's down.
A few seconds ago.
Yeah. You know what what Legion changes have you noticed are most significant for and against Hunter soloing?
So the biggest thing is misdirection is a lot different than it was in the past, I would say. In the past, you could just, you could spam it and you wouldn't have any aggro problems. And nowadays, it's not even for the purpose of getting threat. I mean, that's like maybe 10 to 20% of the time the actual purpose of it. It's basically a defensive cooldown, just because of the artifact. So when you use misdirection, your pet takes 35% less damage. So basically, it's just like your pet, because of the damage it does already by default, is able to maintain threat with literally one kill command. Will change aggro off you. So misdirect is just more of a defensive cooldown nowadays. And also the legendaries play a big part, I would say, in soloing, just because they do so much absorption and healing, like Pridas and Roots, that I think that this expansion, there's going to be a lot more current content soloing, possibly, especially when like 7.2 comes out. So those are just kind of some of my initial thoughts on it right off the bat.
So you're doing this purely as BM?
Yeah, just because pet tanking is really, really beneficial, and especially with the legendaries that I have, I mean, you can do just about anything as long as you have those two things equipped, so.
Well, I'm kind of mesmerized. Synth has the video playing now, and then this round you're on the last phase, the mythic only phase. I'm having all these horrible memories from trying to do this in progression and watching you do it solo. So anybody who's listening, where can we find your YouTube videos? Do you have a YouTube channel name?
Yeah, it's youtube.com/fallingdarkness is the channel name. You can find all my videos there. I just uploaded a bunch of videos. Most of them are not too interesting recently, just because I went back into Mythic Blackrock Foundry last night, and I'm a little bit overgeared at this point, so I just kind of missed the fun era of it. Iron Maidens, actually, I would say was pretty fun. I didn't get to one-shot that encounter, but everything else in Blackrock Foundry has just been kind of because I miss that point where with gear, your gear just matches up and it'll take you more than one try, but yeah.
So you only recently decided to come to this, or have you kind of been thinking about it for a while?
I've been thinking about just kind of doing everything for a while. I just haven't had time because of work, but I had a lot of free time yesterday, so I just kind of went through Blackrock. But Archimonde I had been wanting to do for a while just to see, and I had started it I think a week or two ago, and then I had spent a couple weekends on it and just finally killed it. And then yeah, Blackrock was just last night, but I just haven't had a lot of time, so I just wanted to kind of cram in a lot of time in the last 3 or 4 weeks. So
was Archimonde was your second kill in that instance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had done Manaroth, which was actually pretty much a joke due to being the only person. It would probably be harder to 2 or 3 man it than to solo it, just because of how the mechanics are set up. So I think I maybe wiped like 1 or 2 times, and then I just killed it. And then obviously Archimonde took a lot more effort, just because the mechanics were a little bit trickier.
And you've gone back to some of the earlier bosses now?
Yeah, Blackrock. I just kind of did everything just to check it off the list, and then hopefully pretty soon here I can get a lockout so I can get going with Mythic Blackhand and kind of see what that's like.
Are there any of the bosses you're thinking might be difficult to do?
You know, Blackhand I think is going to be pretty challenging. I mean, I'm probably a little bit overgeared for it at this point, so it might not be as hard as I think, but it took a like a Demon Hunter 400 something plus wipes to do it, so I might have my fair share of challenges giving it a shot as well. I don't think I'm going to go in there and one-shot it, but that's kind of my plan. And then maybe going for some current content, which I think is going to be pretty tough. I've been working on Nathendra a little bit and had some good wipes, but that one's going to take a little bit more time as well, just because you needed to be doing about 680k DPS to kill Nathendra. There's a couple warlocks that have done it, so.
So Demon Hunter is kind of new to the soloing game. Are they up there with blood DKs?
Yeah, I mean they're probably better than blood DKs, I would almost argue. I mean, I'm not too familiar with both of the classes because I don't play them, but I would just say from what I've seen, I mean, I think that they're definitely up there in terms of their ability to solo. They're probably one of the like top 2 or 3 solo classes, so if not the best, but yeah.
Is there a website or a forum that solo people like to go to and talk about things, exchange information?
So in the past there was for hunters, there was Elitist Jerks. It's kind of faded out, and there hasn't been
they took it down completely.
Yeah, there isn't a forum anymore. I've always thought about either making a Discord or making a forum, just because I know that there's people that are still out there that really enjoy it, and they just don't really have a place to congregate. But it's something that I'm not sure I would be able to dedicate the time to managing, just because I work quite a bit. But that's something that I have always kind of wanted to do, or at least reach out to the other people that do like to solo a lot and see what their thoughts are on it, because there really isn't a central place to congregate, and it kind of sucks. Everything is heard about just via like Twitter or Reddit and things like that. So
that sounds fair. Is there anything else that is useful to you?
As far as resources, or?
Yeah, I guess pretty much. I don't really know much about soloing. I admire it as a sport.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I mean, the other people in the community that are doing it are, they don't have really a place to put anything either. So in the future, maybe there may be some sort of forum or like Discord, which might not take a lot of management. It would be nice for people to have, but yeah, collectively people just kind of know there's like 5, 6, 7 people that do a lot of extreme soloing, and then always once in a while you'll find a video that's just tucked away in YouTube. But it would be nice if maybe someday there was some more central community for it, because I know a lot of people do enjoy it. Whether or not they talk about it a lot is one thing, just because there's a lot of other things going out there on WoW. So
yeah, I've seen a few of these make the front pages on Icy Veins or MMO Champion. I don't know if there's a place there where they're keeping track. When your Archimonde video came out, I posted it on Thrill of the Wild and was looking for stats, and I couldn't find anything once I saw the Elitist Jerks page was down. That used to be, a huge record keeper for all of the soloing for hunters, and now I have no idea where to go to find anything. So hopefully somebody makes something.
Yeah.
What was the generic Vittoria's site? Is that still up?
I'm not sure if it's still up. I would have to ask her, but yeah, I mean, as far as my website, I have to update it a bit just because things have changed so much. It's just that realistically, it's tough to put in the time to even make videos at this point because I'm so busy. So I was surprised that I've had as much time as I've had lately, but I've just been trying to focus every single weekend that I have on, getting back to it and enjoying it, because it's one of the things that keeps me playing the game. So I'm going to just kind of continue to do it and eventually work towards maybe having that community set up, or a forum or something, or a Discord even would be pretty easy to do. So
yeah, I think a good name for it. I can't think of anything.
So, what do you have you done any of the Brawlers Guild stuff? The new because when you talk soloing, everyone obviously first thinks of Brawlers Guild nowadays, right? Or not, maybe not everyone. Have you had a chance to experiment in there?
You know, I haven't honestly had a chance to get into it yet, just because, like I said, I've spent most of my weekends just kind of focused on, you know, PvE soloing out in the world. But it's something that I wanted to do just to check it out, because I hear people joking about it a lot and sounding like they're having a lot of fun with it. So it's something that I'm probably going to do pretty soon as well, I would imagine.
Fair enough.
Have you tried doing any like world quest bosses by yourself? Having any luck with that?
I have not tried that yet. I haven't tried doing any. I mean, obviously, if there's like 5 people, I'm gonna pull it and just bust out my turtle and just pull it. But other than that, no, not really. So yeah.
Yeah, most of them have pretty boring mechanics to think
Yeah.
about soloing. There's not really anything interesting going on. It just takes longer if you do it solo.
Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
the thing I'm most excited about is just the current content soloing, because of how gear scaling is working right now. I would say that at this rate, there's going to be a lot of current content soloing, and that's always the most challenging and the most fun, I would say. So I'm looking forward to that here in the next few coming months. So
yeah. I mean, even right now, just this half tier. I mean, supposedly Night holds the same tier as Emerald Nightmare, and we're just so much more powerful right now than we were in Emerald Nightmare. So I can't imagine once we get an actual new tier of gear where we're going to be with DPS.
yeah.
So oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say the improvements that they've made over the last couple of weeks has just made my rating experience so much better, though. But it was so bad before.
Which were those?
Well, they when they buffed Cobra Shot with the 4-piece set, increasing the single target damage for BM, it's so much better. So far behind.
Are you playing BM?
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that. I'm
Yes.
all alone.
I have no DPS legendaries for either spec, so I'd be worse off as MM anyway. So I have to be BM to keep up with everybody else.
Yeah. Just spam that beast cleave.
Yep.
We did have one question so far from the chat room, but I think you may have already answered it. Shoot. It was from Glacier Wolf, and he wanted to know if there's any bosses that require 2 people, but I'm guessing not.
I think that Mythic Blast Furnace is I'm still gonna need a Shadow Priest for that to break the thing for each of the elemental guys in Blast Furnace. So, but other than that, I don't think there's anything that requires 2 people. Gorefiend, I guess, would also require 2 people, because I don't think there's a way to make the boss detect a person on the upside if you go down, and it automatically makes you go downstairs, even if you use like a guardian trinket or anything like that. So I think with the exception of those bosses, there's nothing you can't solo. I don't know if Mythic Hellfire Assault is soloable at this point, just because I don't know, it almost requires you to be so spread out that you can't necessarily cover both sides, but I'm sure that that's not necessarily unsoloable. It's just a matter of just getting better at that. But other than that, I think those 2 first bosses I named are the only things you could not technically solo.
All right, fair enough.
So, I was saying, watching your videos a little bit earlier, you do a lot of like pet manipulation. Have you noticed any issues with the AI? Anything stand out to you as a fault or maybe improvements? Hopefully.
I would just say that, I mean, the issues that I think the issues with pets used to be a lot worse. I don't think they're as bad now. I mean, pet pathing is always something that they're never going to be perfect with, but for me personally, I don't seem to have a whole ton of issues with it. I mean, the only issue that people have ever experienced throughout time that I think is always going to be constant is just that blink strikes. When there's a weird platform angle or something like that, your pet can get stuck and you have to just, set it to pet passive, bring it back to you, and then attack again, or set to pet attack, which I have macros for, but other than that, I don't seem to have a whole lot of issues with pet control. I think it's just always going to be something that they can work on, but it's never going to be perfect. So,
how about Hattie? Are you doing much with him or her?
I mean, in terms of pet manipulation, one of the cool things is that even if your pet dies, usually the boss will still attack Haiti and just kill Haiti, and then that gives you extra time to res your main pet and feign. And that's kind of a cool trick with her, but that just kind of happens on its own. That's nothing really you can necessarily control. The one other pet trick, I mean, you could still do, but I haven't found an applicable purpose for it yet, is you can have, you know, like a pet on ferocity spec out and DPSing, and then maybe at a tougher part in the fight or an intermission dismiss and, you know, call like your turtle out and have that on tenacity and just have like a tank spec. But that hasn't been something that's I've really found applicable so far since I've been soloing for this expansion. But that's something in the past that used to be a little more applicable. So
have you been on the PTR much or seen BM what's coming in 7.2?
You know, I haven't. I mean, I've seen the set bonuses. They look pretty boring, to be honest. They're just like, I think, just regular damage increases. So I'm not too sure. But I mean, BM is a really simple spec. That's why I think a lot of people play it, and I don't mind that at all. And also, it is best for soloing at this point. So
the part that really interested me was the snakes that are supposed to come out. I haven't played it on 7.2 PTR at all. Just from reading the description, they sound a lot like the snake trap kind of snakes that come out. And a trick, I don't know how viable this was in the more extreme soloing, but in my own little, soloing world of less extreme soloing, you have these 5 pet snakes come out, and if you feign death, you had enough time because the boss would kill one with each melee, but it would have to cycle through all 5 of them before it would lose aggro altogether. So you could kind of have these pets feign death, let it hit the snakes, and then res your pet. I didn't know if that was possible with these new snakes or not.
No, that's actually a good point, because that trick was, I think I used it on Halfus back in the day, just because he could hit so hard, but if you snake trapped him in the beginning, that would delay some time, so you could open up all the dragon cages. So yeah, that strategy had a few uses. It was just good for, avoiding a few extra swings on your pet, especially if you just like misdirect snake trap at start. But yeah, that might be interesting to kind of see how that interacts. I mean, dire beasts in themselves, they're guardians, so they have some uses as well for if an ad's coming, and if you have a charge of dire beast, you just throw it on it and it'll get aggro right away. So that's one use. But I mean, it doesn't.
Are you taking stomp?
Yeah.
Okay. Does that pull a good bit of aggro to them?
Yeah, it's just funny. I think, like I said, the biggest thing that's changed for soloing is how misdirection is used now. It's just used as like a defensive. It's not even used as an aggro, because literally your pet with 1 kill command can grab tons of aggro and it's just set it, forget it. And it never used to be that way. You used to have to like spam misdirection and it would reset and you had the glyph, and that's how it worked. So that's the biggest change, I would say.
Did
is it worth using Aspects of the Beast on top of that for even more damage reduction? Or would you rather have the extra DPS from Killer Cobra?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's tough to say that, because I think with my gear, it's not an atypical gear level for a lot of people to go in solo. And so I think that, I mean, me personally, I don't use Aspect of the Beast unless I have to, which for like trying to do current content like Nathendra is something I've found that I'm gonna have to find some kind of happy medium, just because it's current content. But I think for a lot of people that are like maybe 870 to 880 or 890, they might find a little bit more use in using Aspect of the Beast, just because it is a really good talent. I mean, the fact that in my gear level, my pet can just keep tanking Nathendra and have no problems, even translated into like a 870 to 880 eye level, it's going to make people that are trying to solo their lives a lot easier. I just prefer not to use it if I don't have to. Like for Archimonde, I found that it would just throw me way too behind on the damage checks, because there are still damage checks that you have to meet with that fight. So if I don't have to use it, I don't, but I could see the value in using it if you're in lower gear levels and if you're trying current content. So
while we're on the topic, maybe we can just go through each of the talents and see how you set up your build. I think that kind of, so you were talking about aspect of the beast there with tenacity, I assume, is the damage reduction?
yeah.
You're taking all tenacity pets, or
for
so much switching? You talked about the turtle trick, but
yeah, I use for most of the fights, if I feel like there's any risk of my pet dying, I'm always going to use a tenacity pet. Archimonde, I use tenacity pet. Nathendra, that I'm starting to try out, I'm using tenacity pet. But yeah, for Iron Maidens, I use tenacity pet, I'm pretty sure.
So
imagine that I was just going to say the Apex ring, imagine that would be pretty nice for soloing. Do you have that?
I unfortunately don't have that. I really wish I did though, because that's probably that's a really good thing to have, especially if you had like, you could just pair that with roots if you're not looking for a crazy damage build, and then if you're looking for a really, really crazy damage build, use like mantle roots. But yeah, I mean, that would be nice to have, just to have like a medium damage build versus just having to go all damage or all defensive.
Yeah, because for the Apex ring, you also, with Aspect of the Beast, you get all 3 effects at the same time as well.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
Yeah, because like for Iron Maidens going Mantle and that, it was just really, I don't know. I mean, I needed the damage, but I just feel like if I had Ring and Roots, that would be a really good balance build, and you still get the damage reduction plus the pet DPS, like you said. So hopefully that'll be my next legendary.
So shoot, what relics are you picking up? Like which talents are you trying to focus on, or traits? Which traits are you focusing on?
So I focus primarily on either Jaws of Thunder or Pack Leader. Both of those are about equal, and they're best for single target. The other one that some people focus in on is Furious Swipes, which increases your Beast Cleave, but overall the best traits to focus in on, I would say, are the single target, which is Kill Command, or Jaws of Thunder, or Pack Leader. Both of those contribute to Kill Command damage, so...
Not that extra 2% dodge?
No.
I would have thought that was the best one.
I know, right? So...
Oh, that's interesting, though. No, I was gonna ask if you had or if you thought anything about Mimron Shell, because that's an extra 10% of your health, although that's on a 2-minute cooldown, right?
Yeah, it's not, it's not bad. It's just that I'm also PV rating as well, and so I'm focusing. Obviously, relics are a little bit permanent in a sense, so I'm focused on obviously what is contributing to my raid most, and these relics don't happen to affect my ability to solo very much at all. Obviously with legendaries I can change those out and be a little bit flexible, but with relics I'm not flexible in that way, so I just keep what's the best for me for PV rating, and it also happens to work out for soloing, which is nice. Because I mean, if you're doing more damage with your kill command, then it's also healing you with Spirit Bond. So you get a little bit of healing back on it regardless.
Yeah, it's disappointing we don't see a relic that affects those 1 out of 1s, right?
Yeah.
That'd be nice. But I
have a question.
Go for it.
When you've gone to BlizzCon in the past, have you ever gotten a hold of like a dev or somebody down at the bar and had a conversation about soloing and how to improve it, so to speak?
I've talked to Ion a little bit, not to the point where I don't know, I think he's really known me. I've talked to Celestial on a good bit. He knows who I am. In the past we've talked a little bit about it, but as far as soloing feedback is concerned, it's not something they're really oriented around focusing balancing on, and so I've kind of come to accept that it's really not their primary focus, nor will it ever be. The disappointing part about soloing is that if you take a lot of time, like I did off, for instance, from doing it, then you come back and you have a bunch more gear now, and you never really get to experience a fight when it's, I guess, quote unquote, tuned to the level that you would hope would give you, some decent pushback. That's just not the way it's ever ended up working out. And I can always tell, because I'm not saying that one-shotting something is not amazing and, that people don't like doing that. But at the same time, having a little bit of a difficult fight is always more fun. So I kind of missed the boat on that in terms of like most of Blackrock Foundry. So I'm kind of bummed out, and tuning never will be perfect, but it's just something that when a fight's tuned around a certain amount of gear level, once you outgear it, it just makes it kind of not fun, and they're never going to go back and tune old fights because they're focused on new content. So it'd be cool if they had like a time walking type of setup for soloing, but I don't see that ever happening either. So.
Well, I'm actually on a raid team that does at-level content, and we're currently level 80 doing next. So not that you've got a lot of time right now, I understand, but have you thought about doing something like that? Like playing a not max level character?
Yeah, that's something I thought about doing too, is maybe just being a level 100 and finding the best gear, and then doing level 100 content at level 100. But I kind of just always have focused on my main character and doing the most up-to-date content that's still technically last expansion. And then if there is current content to be done, I think this next part of WoW is going to be the most exciting, just because we're at a point where current content is going to become something relatively easy to do, or easier to do, and you'll see current content solos probably even through some of the Nighthold bosses once maybe 7.2 or 7.3 comes out. So that's what I'm most looking forward to.
So let's talk about your gear for a second here. Are you gearing in line with the secondaries, with the the priority lists that are publicly available, or do you have your own thoughts on priority of like haste, for example, or something like that?
No, so I'm gearing primarily what most people are gearing, which is just like Agi, Mastery, Haste, Crit. I just got Mantle of Command, so for me, Crit might end up being better than everything else just because of how Mantle of Command works, but I'm not going to switch all my gear for it most likely. But I just follow the basic primary guidelines that are publicly out there in terms of what to gear towards. So
okay, I wasn't sure, because I mean versatility does reduce damage done to yourself, right? But I I wouldn't be able to. I don't know if that's justifiable in the loss of DPS, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't gear versatility or anything like that. I don't really need to focus stats like that primarily for soloing. It's just not necessary. If I need to switch anything, it's usually in the form of legendaries, but other than that, I don't really have to worry too much about that issue.
Are there any specific fights that you can foresee or have done that require you to switch out of the two defensive healing legendaries that you did with Archimonde?
Yeah, so for Iron Maidens, I went Mantle of Command, which is the new legendary I got, which is the best BM DPS legendary.
Mm-hmm.
So I did Mantle/Roots. I would say for Nathendra, when I do it, it's probably going to require me to do Mantle/Roots just to have the best possible shot at meeting the DPS check, which is like 680k. So that's going to be pretty rough and might take even more gear than just having Mantle, but Mantle's a pretty big DPS increase. So you have to do about 10% a minute. It's a 10-minute timer for Berserk, and you have to do about 10% a minute to keep up. So And if your pet dies, then you can't do anything. You can't feign, because if you feign, it resets the encounter. So you can't rely on feigning and rezzing your pet and losing like a second or two of downtime. If your pet dies, the encounter's pretty much over. So, yeah.
Well, that's pretty interesting. Any other questions we have for him? I know we missed a few sections on our talents during news, during our.
Oh, right. Yeah, I don't know if we want to kind of go through all of those. We covered the 100 tier and 90. Are you choosing based on damage output or utility there?
For the level 90 tier?
Yeah.
I pretty much always go Murderer Crows.
Just that boss damage?
Yeah, just the overall damage. I mean, for PvE rating, for like with my guild, I go volley some of the time depending on the fight, but I mean for soloing I never found a reason to go volley. And barrage, I thought about doing that for Mythic Archimonde, because I was having some issues with the stars and just being able to cover all of them, because you have to literally switch to each one individually and blow it up. But I found that just trying to be more efficient about that ended up being a lot better. And without Murder Crows, I would not have been able to do that. So
those are you talking about the ones that chase you in the final phase?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I thought barrage would be a lot easier for those, but then I wouldn't have nearly as much single target damage. So yeah.
I didn't know if maybe like the Beastmaster guy, Beast whatever, Beast Lord, if there were times when you needed to gather enough adds to your pet, or you just needed to be able to pull things from huge sections of the room with barrage.
Yeah,
misdirect.
I can't remember what I actually used for Mythic Beast Lord because it was such a long time ago. I think back then Barrage was a little bit better, I'm pretty sure, because it got nerfed, but I can't remember specifically what I used it for. I was just loading up the video to see if No, it looks like I used Murder on that as well, because I just looked at Mythic Beast Lord kill. I mean, Beast Cleave is usually enough to kill anything anyway with blink strikes. It's a lot of damage regardless, so Barrage is a lot weaker than either of those things.
And then on 75 is I don't know, is Binding Shot pretty much all you need, or any special circumstances for Intimidation or Wyvernstein?
Intimidation has a few circumstances. I would say for soloing, I pretty much always go with Binding Shot, I would say. Doesn't seem to really make a huge difference, so it hasn't impacted me one way or the other in terms of any encounter I can think of up to date, so.
Well, does Intimidation still interrupt spellcasting on bosses, or is that I haven't really tried it.
I don't think it does on bosses, but it does on boss ads, I'm pretty sure. Because in my raid group for Spellblade Allurial ads, I'm always a couple of interrupts for those, so. And those are just ads created by the boss, so I would imagine that it still has that effect, just maybe not directly on the boss.
Okay, so maybe if there's a boss ad that you have to interrupt, you would take Intimidation, or would you still try to go through Binding Shot?
I would take Intimidation. I mean, I obviously still have Counter Shot, so I always try and do that first. Thankfully, there hasn't been a boss in a long time where interrupts is soloing or particularly an issue, but you never know what lies in the future. I mean, Il'gynoth might be one where having extra interrupts and stuns and things like that is going to be really good, so.
So this is only slightly related to that, but I recently got the Bursting Shot Legendary and have noticed there are some ads that seem to be immune to its knockback and the little daze effect that it does, but it still interrupts them. And I haven't been able to figure out if that's just a bug on some ads or what I'm doing exactly to get it to work, but there might be something really awesome I haven't figured out yet. Anyhow, just excited about that.
Oh, I that was my first legendary. I hated it because it would go through walls. So you
it
pull,
goes forever.
so you would pull in Black Rook Hold. You could accidentally pull ads from across from the next room over.
Yeah, the other pass. Yeah.
And in Mythic
Yeah,
Plus
the same
run.
problem in Mauve Swivels.
Yeah, and in Mythic Pluses that was just disastrous. So.
But it's really fun on what's the gardener boss called right now?
Gardener boss.
Garden keeper.
Botanist.
Yeah, botanist. Oh. That's the word I was looking for.
Botanist, gardener.
If you really want to test your range, you can try to knock the plants into them just for fun.
Oh,
see what happens. You're 30 yards away, so surely it couldn't have been you. blame the druid.
Oh, jeez.
Hope nobody in my raid's listening.
Oh my God! I might try that this week.
Especially that shadow priest trying to finish a cast. Just knock it into him right before he runs off.
That's so mean.
Anyhow, we kind of talked. You said you took blink strikes in most occasions. Back to tier 60 or level 60 tier.
Yeah, so I take blink strikes in most occasions. Now that I have mantle, I will probably take one with the pack just about all the time, and then blink strikes if there's any AoE, but that's pretty standard. And I'm not really sure how much soloing I'll do with mantle and how much without. I just know that it's there if I need that extra damage boost. So
yeah, and then down at tier 30, you said Stomp was the go-to?
Yeah, pretty much always.
And there's no, having the extra guardians out there is too valuable to ever want to deal with Dire Frenzy. Or the DPS it's just too low.
Yeah, it's just Stomp is just, I think, always better, so.
And what about at the tier 15 or level 15 tier?
So, if it's like full single target, I would use Way of the Cobra, but if you're going to do any kind of beast cleaving, I would say Dire Stable, and then Big Game Hunter you don't ever use. It's kind of a lot of the same rules for PvE apply for soloing, with the exception of like level 100 talent, because a lot of people are probably going to find themselves using Aspect of the Beast, but you might find yourself using Killer Cobra if you just want to Zerg stuff and see if you're capable of doing it. If not, then you just go with Aspect of the Beast, so for survivability.
Well, cool. I think that covers all of them. And the build, you were kind of talking about stats with Synth there. What do you say? I'm curious where your build is. Where are you sitting at with like mastery? Have you hit 100% yet, or?
So in my PvE solo set, which is Prideaz and Roots set, I have 82% mastery. In my rating set, which would be Mantle and DPS BM Boots, I'm at 81%. So both sets I'm like a little bit over 80%. Yeah.
I don't know if that's low or high for Beast Mastery right now.
It's pretty normal for Nighthold because of all the versatility and stuff on the gear in there. It's hard to get really high mastery in it right now.
I feel like it scales a little better for BM than MM, but I can't remember exactly what it is. I don't have the numbers in front of me. One of our hunters, our only BM hunter in my raid, has been well over 100%, and then as he's geared up, dropped down. I think he's 85 or 90 now. So, but he had just gotten really lucky with Titan Forges. Well, anything else you want to share with us about soloing? Any dreams, hopes?
Hopes and dreams? Yeah, sure. No.
What's the best beer to drink while soloing?
Probably something from Elysian. We have the Elysian Brewery here, so we've got Space Dust, we've got Immortal, we've got some of the better IPAs, but no, hopes and dreams. I would say
from Seattle to Chicago.
Yeah. Next hopes and dreams would be to solo some of the Emerald Nightmare content. You can expect some attempts on that pretty shortly. I would say with Mantle of Command, I would have started soloing this weekend if I could and see where I'm at with Nathendra's check. But I cleared normal and heroic Emerald Nightmare and Trial of Valor just to farm legendaries, and also AP for off spec. So I don't know. Otherwise I would be starting on Nathendra, because I think I'm gonna go like Mantle of Command and Roots on Nathendra and just see how close I can get. I think the closest I've gotten is like 28% at Berserk, so I've got a lot of damage to make up, but I think it can be done. So that's my next hopes and dreams.
All right, sounds good.
Well, I'm inspired by the beer comment now. So, is there anything else that you'd like to tell us about you? Because we kind of skipped over that part and got to the PvP or the soloing content. I mean,
one of those things.
Yeah, we talk about those equally much, right?
Well, like I watch Twitch a lot. Do you have a Twitch channel or anything like that?
Yeah, I do have a Twitch channel. I don't really stream anymore, but people are always welcome to check it out. It's twitch.tv/Schottenheim. And people are welcome.
Yeah, whatever happened to Schottenheim? You were on Shooty? Have you changed names, or are these different hunters just based on what legendaries you've gotten?
No, this is all my main. My main is now Shootsy, just because Shoot is a tough name to get these days.
Sure.
The amount of time I transferred. I just changed guilds a month or two ago, and just because my work schedule has changed quite a bit. So I work like 60 hours a week, so that's why my website hasn't had a lot of up-to-date information in a while, and why the YouTube's been a little bit inactive. But starting to get back to it and just put the time I have available out there, and starting to enjoy it. Archimonde was a lot of fun, and I'm just gonna keep continue to make content. I know that people like it. I'm not real great about answering questions when I do get them on YouTube, so I apologize for people that have questions. It's just that I have a pretty hectic work week, so I try and maintain that. But hopefully the website will get up to date soon, because I know that people do have a lot of questions about soloing in Legion. One word I would say is legendaries do a lot of the work for you these days, but other than that, I think that's pretty much all my thoughts. So
all
right, great.
Yeah, looking forward to you streaming the Brawlers Guild stuff, because that's I mean, I know you're really good at soloing stuff not designed for one person, but want to see what they have challenge, if they have solo specific challenges for you.
Yeah, that would be something fun to try, hopefully here in the near future, and see. I know I have an invite for it, so I should probably go do it at some point.
Right. Well, I think we're at about out of our hour.
Yeah.
Bendak, did you have anything else we needed to get on here this week?
No, I don't think so. Can save the rest for next time.
All right. Well, on that note,
I do have an answer to your earlier question. I looked at Banya's website while you guys were talking, and according to WoW Biology 101, chimeras are mammals, griffins and hippogriffs are birds, and the other kinds of new pets that we're going, well, not pets, yeah, pets that we're going to be getting, they're not on her website just yet. So, don't know, but...
Anyone know if she's still playing?
I don't know. I see her on Twitter every now and then.
We'll have to get her to continue her research for this new pets.
Yeah, especially those meowls or whatever or owl cats are.
Meowls.
Oh
that's what I call them.
What do we name our mount? Chicken owl or something?
Yeah, chicken owl.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
Alrighty. On that note.
Meow.
So
On that note, meow. You have been listening to episode 255 of the Hunting Party Podcast. I'm Delirium from throwthewild.com and at Delirium Hunts on Twitter.
I'm Bendak from Eyes of the Beast, Blizzard Watch, and Bendak Wow on Twitter. Check us out on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, or add our RSS feed to your reader. Links are available in the show notes.
If you have a question or a topic you would like us to discuss on the show, email us at huntingpartypodcast@gmail.com or send us a tweet at huntingpartypod. Siempre presta la emoción de lo salvaje.
Keep your eyes on the beast.
Foxy?
I always forget.
What was yours?
The Warcraft Hunters Union, and shoot, thank you so much for coming on. So many people wanted to hear your story about the solo, and we appreciate it.
I'm ready to watch over you.
All right.
That was like the outro.
Right.
Outro screwed up for the 255th time. Yes.
Check.
Life stealer, that's just the cost of being awesome sauce. A dues payer, a boss slayer. I rock out with my lockout Viper to cheetah to dragon hawk. No time to waste, cause I can jump shot. BM, MM, and SV. I can rock out any tree. Never worried about my threat, cause I've got FD and misdirect. Catching loose mobs in my traps. I never miss, cause I am hit capped. Cause I'm the hunter, not the marked. I'm the fighter, not the spark. I'm the kiter, not the kite. I'll top the meters every fight. Raiding and cave dealing death. Just me, my gun, and my trusty bed. Now let's begin with Illidan, Osirian, and Gil'jaden, Magdamar, Asgalor, Gruul, Cthulhu, and Razorgore, Onyxia to